Eliza glanced at her reflection. She barely recognized the tired lines etched on her face. Where did the years go? When did she become so ordinary? A strange tingling sensation pulsed through her. It started in her fingertips, then surged through her entire body. Eliza felt lighter, younger. She stared in disbelief as her reflection morphed, years seeming to melt away. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Eliza had stumbled upon a secret, a hidden power within her. She could rewind her own personal clock. At first it seemed like a gift, a chance to reclaim her youth. The possibilities seemed endless. Little did she know this gift would soon morph into a terrifying curse, twisting her life into a surreal nightmare. 17 again. The world was Eliza's playground. She reveled in her newfound youth, pushing boundaries she never dared to cross in her first youth. Eliza raced stolen cars down deserted highways, the wind whipping through her hair. Spray paint cans became her weapon of choice, leaving rebellious messages across storefronts. The thrill was intoxicating. Rules were for the old Eliza, the one trapped in a mundane life, but every high has its crash. Eliza's reckless actions attracted unwanted attention. The police were closing in, their sirens a constant reminder of her recklessness. Panic welled up inside her. Prison was not part of the plan. Eliza needed to disappear to become invisible. The solution, she realized with a jolt, was to rewind the clock once more. The familiar tingling returned. Eliza guided the transformation, her body shrinking, her features becoming softer, younger, 12 years old, a child on the run. The police pursuit faded into the background, their interest in a preteen delinquent minimal. Relief washed over Eliza, but it was a fleeting comfort. She was alone, adrift in a world that no longer made sense. Gone was the carefree laughter of a normal 12-year-old. In its place was a constant fear, a gnawing anxiety that her past would catch up to her. Eliza was trapped in a paradox, an adult mind crammed inside a child's body, forever on the run from the consequences of her own actions. The foster care system became Eliza's new reality. It was a cruel irony. She craved the stability of a family, yet recoiled at the thought of being treated like a child. Eliza observed the other children with a detached curiosity. Their games seemed trivial, their concerns insignificant compared to the weight she carried within. The adults, with their well-meaning but clueless attempts at understanding, frustrated her. They saw a troubled child, not a woman trapped in a cruel masquerade. Eliza longed to confide in someone, to share her secret, but who would believe her? The thought died before it could fully form. She was utterly alone. Section 5. A desperate measure. Eliza noticed a pattern in the foster care system. The younger children were adopted faster. A terrible idea began to take root in her mind. Could she de-age herself again? Would that be the key to finally finding a place to belong? The thought terrified and tempted her in equal measure. Logic warred with desperation. Eliza knew the risks, knew that each transformation chipped away at her control. But the allure of a loving family, of finally shedding the weight of her past, proved too strong to resist. Eliza closed her eyes and willed herself younger, the familiar tingling sensation washing over her. This time it felt different, wilder, beyond her control. Eliza's vision blurred. The world shrunk to the size of a crib. Panic seized her. Something was wrong. She tried to speak, to call for help, but only a gurgling sound escaped her lips. Her limbs, now chubby and uncoordinated, flailed uselessly. Eliza was a baby again, her mind screaming inside her infant prison. The power that had granted her so much freedom had vanished, leaving her stranded in a nightmare of her own making. Eliza watched helplessly as strangers cooed over her, their faces a blur of pity and amusement. They had no idea who she truly was, the burden she carried. Eliza was invisible, her voice silenced, her story untold. Days bled into weeks, then months. Eliza was passed from one well-meaning caregiver to another. Each transition heightened her despair. She was a prisoner in her own body, her past a faded memory that haunted her like a half-forgotten dream. The freedom she craved seemed like a cruel joke, a distant echo from a life she could no longer remember. The world continued to spin, oblivious to her plight. Eliza observed everything with a detached sadness. The laughter of children playing, the warmth of the sun on her face, the gentle lullabies sung at bedtime. All of it served as a painful reminder of what she had lost and could never regain. Regret gnawed at Eliza's soul. If only she had appreciated her life, her freedom, the first time around. If only she hadn't been so reckless, so blinded by the allure of youth. Now she was condemned to relive her childhood, robbed of the chance to make different choices. The weight of her past pressed down on her, suffocating her with guilt and despair. Eliza yearned for a future she would never have, a life she had carelessly thrown away. She was trapped in a prison of her own making, a cruel and ironic punishment for wanting more than she was given. Months go by, and Eliza remains in her infant form, suspended in time. One fateful day, a loving couple adopts her, bringing her into their home with hearts full of hope and love. They nurture her, and for the first time in what feels like an eternity, Eliza begins to grow. The secret lies in the breast milk her adoptive mother feeds her. As the months turn into years, Eliza reaches the age of 4, her mind still that of a grown woman, but her body now that of a small child. However, the day comes when her mother stops giving her breast milk, believing she no longer needs it. Eliza's growth halts abruptly. She is stuck as a 4-year-old girl who doesn't age. Panic and desperation set in as Eliza realizes she must find other ways to obtain breast milk or be doomed to remain in this childlike state forever. The clock is ticking, and the stakes have never been higher. She must navigate her new life, searching for a solution to this cruel twist of fate, or risk being trapped in this incomplete form for all eternity.